Welcome to the Ange TV show. If you click this video, it's probably because there's breaking news, or you're tuning in for my daily briefing. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There's 3 ways you can support the Ange TV show. Visit our merch store at the Ange TV show on Teespring and purchase merch now. Or you could send a super chat. And finally, you could become a member of this glorious channel by hitting the join button at the bottom of the video. Alright guys, enjoy the show. What's up guys? We are live. Welcome guys, it is Tuesday night. Today, I have a really special topic to talk to you guys about. I'm really excited about it. It is episode 8, guys, of The Unknown. Alright guys, I see that you guys already have a lot of theories about what may happen to end the world, or maybe end the world as we know it, right? I mean, like we live by a certain way, but what if it might be changing in the next 50, 100, 1,000, million years? We don't know. Guys, I have all my theories ready. I need your theories as well. I would love to hear them. But before we start that, okay, our senior correspondent, Claudio Capri, guys, he's under the weather, okay? So I just want to wish Mr. Claudio Capri a speedy recovery. All the best, buddy. Hope to see you next week on The Unknown. But for today, guys, we have an emergency senior correspondent, and he is a comedian by the name of Jeffrey Weinstein.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unknown.
What's up, Jeffrey? How are you, buddy?
Great. Everything's good. Yeah.
You're looking good with the yellow glasses, bro. I like it. Yellow glasses.
Thank you.
All right, so guys, let's get right into this. Jay Weld already says he has various theories. All of them involve his wee-wee.
Deep.
Oh, my God. And the cast, the show is also in the building. Guys, I can't wait to go through the theories, okay? Literally, I have each theory dated, okay? But I want to say something before I get into the theories, okay? Some of the theories are dated by an estimate. Like we're saying it might happen in this year. We don't know. I'll give you an example, an alien invasion. We don't know when that could happen. So we're just going to give a date to it that we think it might happen, okay? So the first theory, guys, the world could end next year, guys. Why? Because the COVID vaccine that we're all taking, maybe it could backfire on us, okay? Didn't you see the AstraZeneca and other vaccines giving blood clots? There's just so much out there, so many people. There's so much unknown about the vaccine, right? And, maybe eventually it might start kicking in. And listen, if this vaccine is faulty, and like I said, guys, I'm not an anti-lockdown, anti-vaxxer or whatever, but just think, if this vaccine goes sour, okay, think about how many people took this vaccine. It would definitely be an apocalypse. What do you think, Jeffrey?
Yeah, it's probable, but it's not very likely. And but worse, it would spur on a kind of reset. So, so to end the world as we know it, yes, very possibly. But it would be more like a reboot, a reset. So yeah.
So you think that if the vaccine goes bad and people start dying in big numbers, you think it's going to be a reset?
Yeah.
Okay. That's your opinion. And guys, we're all open to opinions. Now, in my opinion, guys, I mean, look, at the end of the day, people could die. Like, we don't know what this vaccine was made in emergency circumstances, right? We don't know what's in there. We don't know how our body might react in a year from now, 2 years from now. We don't know. We just don't know. But this theory, okay, is actually from Stephen Hawking, okay? And Stephen Hawking is a pretty smart guy. He was a pretty smart guy. He did pass away, God rest his soul. But this is one of Stephen Hawking's 7 theories of the apocalypse, when the world will end. He's saying the vaccine will backfire. So I thought I would bring it up. And why next year? Because I think that's when everybody's going to be vaccinated, and that's when we're going to see it kicking in, what it's really going to do. So the next theory, guys, this may happen in 7 years, the rapture. Now, it depends what you believe in. Obviously, this is a theory based on religion. Jeffrey could explain this a bit more because he knows a lot about these religious doomsday theories. But basically, they're saying that when Jesus returns to the earth, or the Messiah, whatever it be that you believe in, the world is going to change. So it's kind of like a metaphor. The world, it'll be the beginning of the end, right? So from that year on, we're going to see a lot of the ecosystem dying out, the glaciers melting, stuff like that. So what do you think about that, Jeffrey?
Yeah, a lot of environmental disaster. It's prophesied. It's been prophesied in the Bible, in the Old Testament as well as New Testament, and a lot of tsunamis, floods, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes. A lot of what we've seen already, but even more and a lot worse. And wars, and a lot of wars and famine. So everything, all possible, a whole range of possible plagues, pestilence.
So you think that basically when whoever it is that you believe in, Jesus, the Messiah, comes back, that's when all these apocalyptic events are going to happen? You think it's going to be caused, it's a religious thing?
Just before, it will be just preceding the return of the Messiah. Just preceding
just before coming. Jesus comes back to earth, you think all these things are going to happen. Okay, well, that's your opinion. And like I said, guys, everybody is allowed, you're allowed to have your opinion. And
which is according to Apocalypse, like religious people have always felt that a very like disaster, like life-threatening events in the world that will take away a lot of lives and that could destroy the world will hasten the coming of the Messiah, and will bring in the so-called messianic times.
So it all depends what you guys believe in there. But if you guys believe in what the prophets are saying and what the religious leaders, a lot of pastors are saying this and stuff, like I said, it all depends what you believe. But there's a lot of religious end of the world. There was the Mayans that had said 2012. Guys, there is hundreds and hundreds of failed doomsday theories out there that never happened, and I'm sure a lot more future theories might not happen either. That's why they're called theories, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Now, guys, a few years later, not a few years later, but let's say in 2045, okay? I think the way the Earth is going with global relations between Russia, United States, China, Iran, and Israel, there's a lot of tension blowing up. It's getting worse, guys. I think eventually the United Nations are going to be overthrown just because people don't want to get along together, right? And I think World War III might end the world, okay? Just think about something for a second. Before I get into Jeffrey's opinion, just think of, okay, the last World War, World War II, okay? There was footmen, right? Machine guns, tanks, planes. But just imagine if you had nuclear missiles, okay, right at your fingertip. I send a nuke to you, you send a nuke back. The Earth's gonna be finished pretty fast, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, if it's on a massive scale, if it depends on the escalation, if it escalates on a massive scale. But even some people have predicted even like limited nuclear warfare in the late 2020s. There is a high probability of global conflict between the United States and China that's been heating up for the last several years now, and Russia will take the side of China. Iran and Russia and all of these extremist countries will take the side of China and Russia, and all the Western countries and more liberal democrats will be on the side of the United States. So
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
agree with
that
you.
kind. It'll be that kind of conflict. Yeah.
Like seriously, the way the world is
Mm.
going, I think everybody's becoming communist. Like just look at Doug Ford in Ontario, but
Yeah.
look at Canada. The way it is right now, it's just you can see it's like you can see the real stripes coming out. There may be like a war about communism and democracy. Listen, guys, I'm making a bold prediction, and no, I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm making a prediction. Okay, the next crisis in the world. Now COVID is like a crisis in the world. Okay, I get it. But the next big crisis, I believe, will be like a World War III, some kind of a big global war. I think that's my opinion, guys. I don't know what you guys think. Jay Wild said something. He said China and the U.S. are probably going to go at war with each other, but I think it's going to be more of a Cold War type of deal. Only proxy wars. Exactly. Michael Ankers is fighting back to Jay Wild. He said, they say the world will end when Jay Wild stops trolling and talking about people behind their back. Because he basically insulted him. He's like, the world's going to end when Michael Ankers' music makes a good song. Guys, I just want to remind you in the chat, please be nice. No trolling, no bullying, guys. Zero tolerance for that over here. Now, if it's not the world war that'll end everything, okay? I honestly think a global famine will occur in the year around 2050, okay? Look at when you go to McDonald's now, Jeffrey, okay? You go to McDonald's. Can I have that chicken sandwich? No, there's no more chicken. Can I have that beef sandwich? No, there's no more beef. And this is all caused because of the pandemic and everything. But the population is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, Jeffrey. And, if there's no more farmers that want to do this and basically the ecosystem goes to shit, where are we going to get food? There's more families to feed, people that don't have jobs. Listen, go look at Africa. Africa already has a famine crisis, right, Jeffrey? So I think, in my opinion, there's going to be the really rich and the very poor. I think the middle class will be wiped out. There's going to be the really rich, the people that can afford to pay taxes, the people that can afford to go to restaurants, buy food, and then there's going to be the poor. That's my. I think middle class doesn't exist in the next 50 years. What do you think?
Well, I think they'll be the very rich, the ones who can afford not to pay taxes, and they won't pay taxes, and the very poor who can't afford to pay taxes. So it's just going to it'll be the poorest of the rich will still be paying taxes.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a totally different currency monetary system. Actually, that 2050 famine scenario was there was a movie made around it.
Really?
It was a movie about the environmental crisis, but it was like the year 2050 was global famine, and they were rationing food.
Really?
They're rationing off food. And if people were affected mentally, they were getting very depressed, and suicide rates went rampant, went out of control.
Wow, that's interesting though. But I'm telling you guys, there's going to be a food shortage. There already is. There's food banks all across America. There's food banks all across Canada. All around the world, there's food banks. There's family that can't put food on the table, which is just something, guys, really, really, really sad. And I hope you guys can take the time to go to your local food bank. I'm being serious here. Go to your local food bank, drop off some non-perishable food. Maybe you could volunteer in a soup kitchen if they still have soup kitchens. I don't even know if they have it because of COVID. But there's one thing I'm going to tell you, Jeffrey, okay? Already in Montreal, we have a housing crisis, which means there's a lot of homeless. There's not a lot of people that can afford housing. Housing has just gone through the roof. Landlords have raised the rent and everything. The way I look at that is the same way I look at people like being able to afford life. You know what I mean? So I think people are just going to be screwed. They're not going to be able to afford a roof over their head and food, which to me, guys,
it's going to be a mass homelessness crisis.
Yeah, the two main things you need in life to be okay, which means like livable, is food on the table and a roof over your head. Everything after that, okay, and maybe your health too. But
Yeah.
besides that, to me, that's the essential of living.
Yeah.
Mega shout out to Kristen Marie, who just came in the building, and also
Hi,
Melanie
Melanie.
Asaf. What's up, guys? We were talking about theories of how and when the world will end. We just went through a few theories: World War III, the rapture, the COVID vaccine. It backfires on us; people die, basically like a zombie theory. The next theory, guys, in 2100, okay, they say that the global Earth population will be somewhere between 11.2 and 11.5 billion people, okay? It's not exactly, but close to double what we have right now. I think now we have, what, 7 billion? So in like 100,
Close to 8.
we have close to 8 billion. Okay, so maybe not half, but that's like 4 billion people in the next, what, 80 years? That's just crazy and mind-boggling how we're going to be able to have schools for all these people, have food for all these people, have housing for all these people. And a lot of people are saying that COVID, was man-made. It was made to control overpopulation in the earth. But what do you think about this, Jeffrey? I want to hear your opinion.
Well, overpopulation, there'll be just a lot of people dying from starvation, famine, or other reasons, or environmental reasons, lack of housing, and just like dying off through natural disasters, fighting, conflicts, war, and people killing each other off, and like it's a whole range of possible scenarios that may occur from that.
Yeah. Jay Wild said overpopulation is already a huge issue. I would say yeah. I don't think it's at a point where we have to start killing each other because there's too many people. But you're right, though, Jay Wild. In certain countries like China and India, where people are known to have sometimes 5 kids each, they actually ration that. I believe it's how many people are you allowed to have in China? Maybe one born, I think.
Now they increased it to 2. It was 1, but then they made it 2.
So you can have 2 kids in China now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, for the longest time it was 1. Now apparently it's 2. But places like China, India, in Asia, a lot of kids. They get a lot of kids, and that's why they had to cut it down and everything. But listen, it could in the next 50 years or 60 years, there's going to be a huge problem with this. I'm telling you. Will it end the world? Maybe it'll be the beginning of the end. Maybe it'll cause the end, right? At the end of the day, sometimes it's a metaphor, right? Listen, in 100 years from now, what do you guys think is going to happen? Let me just test everybody here. What do you think is going to happen in the next 100 years, okay? I'll give you a hint. What happens every 100 years, okay? Let's see if you guys can get it. Probably not. You probably won't get it. But it's the next pandemic, guys, okay? In 2121, this is an estimate, of course, but listen, 1918, no, not even 1918, 1820, cholera outbreak, cholera pandemic. 1918, I believe, the Spanish flu was 1918, Jeffrey?
Exactly. Yeah, 1918 to 1920, yeah.
About 100 years later, Spanish flu. 100 years after that, 2019, COVID. Yeah. What's coming in 100 years, Jeffrey? In 100 years, what do you see coming?
It's every 100 years cycle. But this thing is, like what happened originally in 1820 this was spurred on by like mass urbanization, cholera mass urbanization, and where you have rats spreading disease, rats, and pestilence and everything. Before, when we had rural life, everybody was out on the farms. Yeah. This wasn't a problem. But when people were cloistered in close together in confined urban areas, and all these rodents and pests were like crawling all over the place, this created a lot of disease. It was a big problem.
Jeffrey, you're absolutely right on this. Okay, somebody told me this today, and I said, "Why was there the Spanish flu?" And he goes, "Well, it's pretty simple." Before, the people that live in the farms, in the rural areas, like you were saying, they eat rats. They eat all kinds of animals. Even in China, certain areas in China, those wet markets, they eat those animals. But the rats in the city, are different things. The animals in the city, they're infected. They carry all these viruses and everything. That's why we don't eat them, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, the disease. Yeah, rats and mice carry disease,
Yeah.
And that's I was living in an apartment a few years ago where we found mice, and what happened after I had made the move, I got this bad infection on my ankle, and
Yeah.
that's something to do with the mice in the apartment.
Oh, a mice bit you?
Yeah, it could have been.
A
Yeah, it could
mouse,
have
I mean,
been.
a mouse.
Yeah, it could have been that or something from like mice feces or something left from the mice that was in the basement of the place.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Jay Wild said, I'm going to pull a modern day Genghis Khan and fuck as many females as possible, therefore spreading my DNA across the world. Oh my god. Life of Adrienne is in the building. What's up, Life of Adrienne? She actually made a comment that the world will end soon. Yes, I agree with you, Adrienne. Well, guess what? We just went through, and I'm going to go through for any of you guys that are just coming in. 2022, the COVID vaccine backfires. 2028, the rapture. Jesus comes back to earth, and it's the beginning of the end. 2045, World War III, we blow up each other. 2050, we run out of food to eat, global famine. 2100, overpopulation, same kind of problems, but we basically kill each other to survive and get the food and the housing and this, that. And that leads us to what we're talking about right now, the next pandemic, which I believe is going to be a super virus. Like the Spanish flu was really deadly. I understand COVID wasn't as deadly, but just think about it, in 100 years, what could be roaming around the earth? As we speak, we say COVID, COVID, COVID. As we speak, you know how many animals are carrying deadly viruses that are just waiting to being transmitted to humans? Like, it can happen at any moment, Jeffrey. And if it does happen, we're going to have a huge problem. We're going to have to deal with COVID and the variants, plus some other super virus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is now with technology advanced, so much more advanced than it was 100 years ago, we have frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies that also are spreading toxins into our body.
Yeah, guys, cell phones are killing us. Cell phones are emitting rays. It's going through our bodies. Microwaves, computers. Why do I have glasses? Because I stare at a screen. Well, not this screen, but when I was in elementary school, I used to stare at a teleprompter. Not a teleprompter. What am I saying? A projector, like a very blurry projector, and I used to squint. I used to squint, and that's why I got glasses. But I mean, So there could be a pandemic in 100 years, guys. Every 100 years, there's been a pandemic for the last 300 years. So it's very possible, guys. Let's go a bit more into the future, okay? In 2500, I personally believe robots will replace us, okay? Now, let me explain. Calm down, guys. Robots, artificial intelligence is already being manipulated now, and it's growing and growing and growing. We're replacing more and more human jobs with robot jobs, with phones, with computers. Literally, your Roombas that could clean your room instead of hiring a housekeeper. We're getting replaced, and one of these days, I'm not saying it's going to be next year or in the next decade, but one of these days, don't you think that these artificial intelligent robots will become malevolent and basically betray us and want to take over, kind of like an iRobot? I know that's sci-fi, but think about it, guys. This is also a theory that Elon Musk is talking about. But I want to say one more thing, guys. Guess what? Robots aren't lazy. Robots don't want vacation. They don't take breaks. And they also don't catch diseases. So aren't they like a much better life form than us? You know what I mean? Aren't they more productive than us? But then you could say, yeah, but what if a robot malfunctions? You always need a human to look after a robot. Kristen's going back to the other theory. She said, we all hope to go to heaven if that's what happens after we die. Of course. Over here, it was rainy. Okay, cool. The world isn't going to be here. Ange robots, lol.
Yeah. I have an answer for Adrienne. Yes, Adrienne, you will go to heaven. Okay.
There you
I'm
go.
psych-
You heard it
I'm
first, guys.
don't
Jeffrey
worry.
Weinstein.
I'm
Jeffrey
psychic. You
Weinstein
will go to heaven.
is saying
And
you will
so,
go to heaven. So good for
yeah.
you. I could see the robots taking over everything like an iRobot movie. Exactly. Well, Ange, that's definitely not
Those-
the plot to Wall-E, Ange, Age of Ultron, iRobot, and Terminators.
yeah.
Robots as doctors? Yeah, no. Okay, well, listen,
Mm.
guys. Listen. Humans, they don't make mistakes. There's not a thing called human error. You know what I mean? We make mistakes, right? Even when we're doing a surgery, we could cut a major artery and you're done, right? Some of our equipment could be contaminated and you die. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
robots can
Right.
make the same mistakes, but
Even now, a lot of jobs already have in place with AI, with artificial intelligence, and that's going to be more and more over the next 30, 40 years or so.
yeah.
And I think it's going to be even sooner than that. I think another 200 years in 24th century, it will just be like all robots running the world, and like humans will be like the second class citizens. And where a human can create a system, they could also create a fail-safe system, backup system. So there'll always be
Yeah.
if a system fails, there'll always be a backup system to take over.
Yeah. Fortnite Master said, we're all going to die. Yeah, we are all going to die one day because that's the way it is. You're born one day and then you die one day. That's just the way it works, whether it's the end of the world or not. And most of these theories are going to happen after we're dead, guys. So especially the next couple of theories. But robots don't have pee-pee. No one is perfect. I agree with you, Life Adrian. No one is perfect. But don't you think robots are better than us? I'm just saying. Like I said, they don't have problems. They have malfunctions, but they're not gonna cry. They're not gonna ask, "Oh, my back hurts." They're not gonna ask for vacation. They're not gonna be lazy. They're not gonna be on their phone all day. You know what I mean? So I just think it would be more productive to have a robot. Robots wouldn't need those parts to create life. They would be intelligent enough to figure it out. Yeah, that's true. Death and birthdays happen every day. Yes. Exactly, Ange. Robots are good for productivity, but they could have lots of technical malfunctions and the development of certain robots and machines. Yes, I understand, guys. Listen, I said robots will replace us, but we're going to be like basically the way animals are now. Like we look down on the animals like they're inferior to us, right? The robots are going to do the same thing. They're going to say, oh, look at Ange and Jeffrey and all these people. They can't do the things we do. They're not as good as us. We're going to be animals in a world of robots.
The humans would be the humans would be the pets and the companions for the robot. So if a robot is lonely, they take a human as a pet.
Exactly. Guys, I hope it doesn't happen, but trust me, in the next by the year 3000, I'm telling you, robots will be the superior beings. I'm telling you, it will happen. Now, the next theory, okay, hang on a second. Fortnite Master said something. He said, burn the robots or nuke them. Yeah, we could, but what if they just take us over and like there's the robot police and we can't get rid of them? You know what I mean? Right now we're controlling them. What if they control us? You know what I mean, guys? You got to think of that. Now, in the next millennium, guys, I am convinced that aliens are going to invade the planet. Okay. And that could cause the end of the world as we know it. Right, Jeffrey? What do you think about the aliens planning an invasion and making it happen within the next millennium?
Yeah, it's a probable scenario. And a lot of people say, well, there are already aliens on Earth that have taken human form. And a lot of people with alien DNA and aliens that we don't know about. They're underground, like Area 51 and other places like Area 51. But a mass wholesale invasion, it is probable and likely because there are civilizations of aliens out there, and if their planet blows up, they're going to look for another planet.
Exactly. Wow, Jeffrey. That is a great explanation. And by the way, Abe says he agrees about the aliens. Okay, listen, guys. We are all looking for another planet to live on. Don't hide it. We all know that you're looking for another planet to live on. Why? Because there's a couple of reasons why we're looking for another planet to live on. Eventually, a meteor will hit this planet. Listen, there's always been a meteor hitting this planet for millions of years, okay? It's going to happen sometime. We don't know when. It could happen tomorrow, Jeffrey. right? The question is, will the meteor actually have the right trajectory to hit the Earth? Because there's a lot of apocalypse dates that were failed because the meteors missed the Earth. But it can happen tomorrow that the meteor actually hits the Earth. It's all about when it hits it. Now, there's a very small probability that these meteors hit the Earth. It's really small, guys. I'm not going to lie. But it could happen. You know what I mean? And I think that the aliens probably have similar problems on their planets, right? They have similar problems. They're looking to find another place, just like we are. What's to say that they won't come here and take over? You know what I mean, Jeffrey?
Yeah, that's it. If they're like, if their planet becomes uninhabitable, or maybe the planet blows up, or space wars, Star Wars, or something, or they just want to, they've been find the right opportunity to take over Earth.
Yeah. But first of all, Fortnite Master said, have aliens gone through puberty? I don't know, guys. We could do another episode about aliens.
Different DNA.
I don't know about alien stuff and things like that, but yeah. Jay Wild said aliens are going to come down to Earth and start raping people. I don't know, guys. Like I said, this is a topic for another episode about what aliens are capable of doing. Apparently, I heard.
Well, that already happened over 10,000 years ago, like 50, 100,000 years ago or so. Aliens came to the planet, and they were hybrids. And they were hybrid human aliens. Aliens did mix with humans, so alien DNA did get into human species.
Listen. Look. If aliens look somewhat like us, then that means they were probably here already, right? Okay, listen.
Yeah.
When the pyramids were built in Egypt, you really think that a bunch of slaves built that pyramid? It's impossible. I'm telling you right now, it was aliens that built that period.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's physically impossible. It was you'd have to. You'd have to have like supernatural powers. The aliens put it there for a specific reason.
Exactly, and you know what, Fortnite Master, thank you for that. You said Stephen Hawking said before he died that there is life on other planets, and guess what, guys? I'm not going to go against one of the most intelligent human beings ever to live. And by the way, Isaac Newton thinks that I think the year 2060 is going to be the apocalypse, and he's a pretty damn smart person too, Isaac Newton. So, guys, we don't know. It could happen in the next century, guys. We have no idea. But I'm going to give you guys my conclusion of when I think the world is going to end at the end of this live stream. So I definitely think aliens can invade. I think it's time to go to Mars, Jeffrey, because they say that Mars, we might be able to live on there. Mars, Jupiter, and I believe another planet. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say anything, but I know for sure Mars and Jupiter, there's a good chance that you could live on those planets. It's livable. So, yeah. Now, the next theory, guys, let's fast forward another 1,000 years, okay? Why do I think this? Because the ocean level, guys, the ocean, okay, it's supposed to raise by almost 8 feet. Okay, do you understand what 8 feet is? It's basically, remember the guy, the basketball player, Zhao Ming? What's his name? Xiao Ming? Anyways, whatever. That basketball player that was almost 8 feet. Think about the ocean raising that high, okay? In 2,000 years, so 4021, approximately, Earth is gonna flood. Why? Because the freaking Arctic and Antarctica, the ice caps, they're melting at a very fast rate, and the sea levels will rise. Florida's gonna be underwater, that we know for sure. But the question is, can we stop global flooding, Jeffrey?
You'd have to complete reversal of like the carbon and methane gases. You'd have to completely get them out and reverse a total reversal of what's going on now to arrest this the Arctic caps from flooding and all this like environmental disaster.
Exactly. Jay Wild said basketball player named Chow Man. What's his name though? The guy, what's his name? Seriously, what's that basketball player's name? The Asian one that's about 8 feet? I can't remember his name. Is it? Okay, I'm not going to say it again because I don't know his name. But listen, guys, we could definitely be swimming around in an ocean in about 8 feet of water if we don't be careful. If we don't take care of the planet, why do you think they want
Yeah.
to reduce the gas emissions for the cars by 2030? I believe they're not going to sell any gas cars anymore. So that's why, guys, we have to work on global warming, on environment, keep it safe, guys. Recycle, use like buy your bags, use the bags that are recyclable. You know what I mean? Don't use plastic bags. And don't throw your freaking bottles
Yeah.
and juices on the
Yeah.
floor, guys. Okay? Please.
Yeah.
Please.
And by the way, it's the methane gases that are melting the Arctic ice caps, like in the North Pole, at a much faster rate than the carbon gases. So we should be more worried about the methane gases. Yeah.
Definitely. I do agree with you, Mr. Jeffrey. By the way, Mike, the co-host on the right of me, guys, is Jeffrey Weinstein. He is a comedian, an old school comedian. I would say a Montreal legend. Okay. He's from I think the NDG area, Côte des Neiges area.
No, close to downtown.
Okay, cool.
On the other side of the mountain.
Awesome. Guys, now we're really fast forwarding like to a long time from now, okay? And guys, like I said, I'm not a scientist. Wikipedia is not a scientist either. It's a lot of people putting information together. But this is what scientists, critics, prophets are saying. Well, not prophets, I would say more scientific, okay? In 1 million years, okay, the year 1 million AD, after that, super volcanoes will erupt, okay? Let me explain you something, okay? There is volcanoes right now that are probably strong enough. Okay, I wouldn't say strong enough to end the whole Earth, but very strong that they could destroy countries, maybe even continents, okay? So basically, these volcanoes are dormant, which means the core, the magma from the core is basically trying to come out from those volcanoes. Basically, if you want to make an equivalent over here, when you're about to have an orgasm, right? You're about to explode. It's the same type of thing with a volcano. And this super volcano has been gaining magma for thousands and thousands of years, okay? They say that in 1 million years, a super volcano, similar to the one 75,000 years ago, I believe it was called the Tobian super volcano, is supposed to erupt with enough magma to cause a mass extinction. What do you think about that, Mr. Jeffrey?
Yeah, they have been predicting this for a long time, volcanic eruptions, and it's really the volcanic ash that's going to block out the rays of the sun, and the earth will be in total darkness, and all life will cease to exist.
Exactly. So, guys, it's not just the magma that erupts on the planet and kills everybody, warms everybody up like a hot soup. But it's true, the ashes is going to cover the sunlight, and basically there's going to be a bunch of toxins in the air as well, right? You have no idea what will happen if a super volcano of that might. We don't know, guys. Like I said, I was reading the details on Wikipedia, and let me tell you, it wasn't a pretty sight if this super volcano is able to endure a lot of energy and then explode. By the way, every 7,000 years, it's not 7,000, excuse me, every 17,000 years, there's a super volcano that erupts. Now, it doesn't mean it's a big one, but approximately every 7,000 years. The last one was 26,000 years. So, like I said, it's not exactly 7,000, 17,000, but that's the average, guys, okay? Now, if it's not a super volcano, okay, in 100 million years, guys, this is a very, very accurate, I would say, what do you call it? It's an accurate theory, meaning that it most likely will happen. It doesn't mean it's going to happen in the year 100 million, but around 100 million years, there's a very, very good chance that a meteor, the size and the power of a meteor that killed the dinosaurs, will hit the Earth. So there's like scientists are saying that the trajectory of this meteor is most likely going to hit the Atlantic Ocean. That's how precise they are to saying that it will hit the Earth. Now, we all know that if a meteor hits the planet, guys, The Earth,
Well,
the Earth will
even
be in.
you know what happens? You have no, a meteor is the size of, let's say, like 3 football fields. Let's
Yeah,
say once it penetrates the Earth's atmosphere, it the planet's being destroyed even before it hits the ocean. Forget it, because
yeah.
it's shooting out pieces of meteor
Exactly.
hitting
Just think, guys.
different parts of the world.
When it rains. You know when it rains and you see little drops. Picture little meteorites hitting your head, right? Because the thing that hits the planet is actually called a comet. It's a huge rock, and it causes a shower of meteors,
Yeah.
which is basically when it rains. But think about if it's raining, you're walking down the street, you get a rock on your face, so you're gonna have that. You're gonna have the impact. The impact is gonna cause a vibration. Okay, it's going to cause a kind of like a nuclear radioactivity. Listen, the dust that's going to be caused by the impact will choke everybody. We won't be able to breathe on this planet if that happens, right, Jeffrey?
That's it. That's right.
So
All the ash, all the toxins that spewed out by this meteor that's going to spread all over the globe
yeah.
destroys all life.
Now, something I want to say, guys, this is very important. We're asking the question, when will the world end? Okay. Just because it ends, okay, like let's say if this meteor hits the planet will end because everybody who lives on it will be dead. I understand. You guys are thinking of it that way, the end of humanity, okay? But we've always seen in the past civilizations dying and then new ones coming. So basically when the dinosaurs died, it wasn't the end of the earth, because then we came, right? Well, basically, fish, the story, bacteria, fish, animals, and then we came, right? So it doesn't mean it's the end of the earth. That's what you guys have to understand. To me, the end of the earth is when the earth blows up into a million pieces, when it's finished, like it's literally physically gone. Okay, so I don't think at 100 million years the world will end. That's just my opinion, guys. Now, this is going to be really, really, really far away from 100 million years. This is, look, the universe is said to be about 4.5 billion years old, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, that's right.
Just imagine almost double what just happened in the future, okay? 7.5 billion years is when they say that the earth, as we know it, the physical earth, okay, the planet that we live on, will die, okay? Basically, the sun, without the hydrogen, keeping it warm, okay, it keeps expanding, it keeps expanding, it keeps expanding. It becomes 256 times its size 7 billion years from now. And what ends up happening is that the heat that it emits is just overwhelming for the earth. And basically, you cannot live on the earth because it's too hot. And the water in the oceans evaporate. No more water on the planet of Earth. And we all know that without water, there is no more existence of human life. Now, and eventually, basically, the sun will swallow the earth because of how big it gets. It'll just gobble it up. So that's going to most likely happen in 7.5 billion years. I have a little something to say after about it, but that's when the earth will be gone. Okay. Now, if you're wondering, yeah, go ahead.
As a planet, yeah, as a planet, but by that time there won't be any life on Earth at all.
Well, yeah, well,
because of the trajectory of the Earth, the global the rotation of the Earth, of the Earth, like the Mars was once a humanly inhabitable planet. So the Earth, it changes trajectory and it evolves such that human life as we know it now, or any life as we know it now, it's not there anymore. It just doesn't exist. It's just barren. Yeah. It's just a globe.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I hope in 7.5 billion, or maybe before that, you guys could come up with a way to avoid this. You know what I mean? But to avoid something with the energy of the sun exploding, that's just really hard to avoid. Like just like the amount of heat it emits, like there's no way you could stop that. Like, you know what I mean? But maybe not. Maybe you guys will have something to whatever life form is living on the planet at that point. Maybe they'll be able to figure it out. But like I said, guys, it looks pretty grim. Now, 22 billion years from now, okay, there's supposed to be a universal rip. Okay, so think of like when you have your pants and they rip in the middle. If the universe rips, okay, Jeffrey, scientifically speaking, what will happen to whatever's in the universe if it rips?
It's obliterated. So it's a mass of force of energy that everything in the path of this force, whatever it is just destroyed and obliterated. It goes back to the beginning of all time, before the universe was created. Just one,
But to me, I think if the universe were to rip, it would just fall into basically space, and it would just like disintegrate. You know what I mean? It's like having a hole.
Yeah, that's true. It would be sucked in. There's another theory that said it would be like sort of like sucked into a black hole. It would be sucked into another dimension.
Yeah, or it will just like fall very, very fast in space and then just basically disintegrate. Like I just think it's like having when you have a hole in like a balloon, or let's say you have like when you have when you go in your pool in the summer and you have those things that you ride on, those little rafts, and there's a hole, the air starts coming out, it's done. That's basically what could happen to the universe in 22 billion years from now. But it doesn't mean it's the end of the universe. According to scientists, they say that there's a chance that this might not happen. Okay, guys? So there's, I think, a 0.00009% chance that it could happen. So this isn't the point where we're really finished, okay? Because, guys, if the universe ends, we're pretty much done. Like, nothing will ever exist unless there's another Big Bang. Like, if the universe is gone, then nothing ever existed. It's hard to imagine it, but, like, there's no life, there's no thoughts, there's no reality. It's a mind-boggling thing. If you're really interested, go look up the universe on Google. Not Google, YouTube, which is Google, but go on YouTube, type the universe. I'm sure Neil deGrasse could tell you about it, but it's an interesting thing for sure. Now, they say, and this number I can't even pronounce, okay? In 10 Googles, you know that Google is actually a metric unit, right? It's a way of, it's basically a 1 followed by, I believe, 100 zeros, okay? So in 10 to the power of 10 years, which is in 10 Google years, okay? Googilian, or whatever you want to call it, trillion, whatever, the dexillion, apparently the universe, okay, will freeze. It'll be called the Big Freeze. It's the death. Exactly, Raul, you just got it. Look at this. These people are smart. Thermodynamic heat death of the universe. Neil deGrasse. Thank you, Ange. There you go. Exactly. Neil deGrasse's thermodynamic heat death, which means there's no more sun. The universe will basically freeze and freeze to death, right, Jeffrey? So what are your thoughts on this theory, this sad reality? But don't worry, it's in about 10 Googles of a lifetime.
Yeah, it's what scientists have been saying for a long time, like ever since beginning of modern science itself, that the sun will eventually burn out. There'll be no more sun. Without the sun, there's no more heat, and everything freezes. So,
yeah, exactly. And guys, do I think this will happen? Yes. If the sun explodes and there's no heat that can hit the planet, and there's no way the universe can survive, the universe will die. It will freeze. And but then there's the argument of, is the universe a living thing, right? So it's like there's a lot of ways you could look at this, guys, and that's why I'm gonna conclude this episode, guys. How the world will end. I think, you know what, Jeffrey, you could give your conclusion, and then I'll say my own conclusion. So go ahead, Jeffrey, and seal the deal over here. What are your thoughts on all the theories we went through? How do you think, and when do you think the world will end?
I think it's more likely the 4,120 scenario, like in the fifth, which is like the fifth millennium, that through like biological or universal circumstances or energy will destroy all life on Earth.
So you think in 10 Googles of a year?
Yeah, I mean, in which another like uh, like 2,000, 2 millennium, 2,000 years, two millenniums.
Okay, listen, Ross said, Ange, that's the point of the unknown. We don't know. So why are you concluding it? A conclusion, listen, guys, a conclusion doesn't mean a definite answer. Okay? It's still the unknown. We have no idea when the world is going to end. Now, let me give my take on all of this, guys. And let me remove this 10 Google thing over here. Here we go. When will the world end, guys? Well, after close thought and looking over the theories, guys, if you're asking me when the world will end, I gotta tell you that it will end. We don't know when it's gonna end, guys. That's the reality of it. There's no way to tell when the world is gonna end. I'll tell you why there's no way to tell when the world is gonna end, okay? Yes, we could say that in 8 billion years from now, the sun is gonna swallow the earth, right? Scientists are saying that. Yes, that's cool. But a million years from now, we could come up with the answer for that, right? Like we could somehow figure out how to move the Earth. We could figure out how to make another a new sun. Maybe we'll be able to make a new sun. Who knows? So what I'm trying to say is that yes, there's prophets that say in a million years we're gonna die, whatever. At the end of the day, we just don't know because we don't know what could change in the future, right? In 100 years from now, something could change that could be completely revolutionary. So there's no way of telling what's going to happen in the future. Now, if we were able to tell what's going to happen in the future, then you'd probably be able to know how the world is going to end. I mean, if you could tell the future, you could tell when the world's going to end, right? But my conclusion, guys, is that we don't know. We don't know when the world is going to end. It's the unknown. That's why it's here. And hopefully it doesn't end in my lifetime. I want to live at 100 years, hopefully, but not the way I eat, but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean, guys. And at the end of the day, I think it's just one of the world's biggest mysteries, the universe, right? The universe, the Earth. How did it start? When will it end? These are like huge, amazing life questions that I don't think we'll unfortunately ever be able to answer, Jeffrey. Now, what do you think of those closing thoughts?
Yeah, there's no real scientific answer for that. There's likelihoods and probabilities and prognostications, but it's impossible to come up with a scientific, definitive answer to that question.
That's 100% right, Mr. Jeffrey Weinstein. And you were awesome today, Jeffrey. Guys, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Jeffrey Weinstein, who's been filling in for Claudio Capri, our senior correspondent. And, Jeffrey, you did an awesome job. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
No problem. I think we had an amazing discussion of when the world is going to end. And, guys, if you have your own theories of when the world will end, please let me know in the comments on the video after it uploads. Okay, guys? There'll be a little comment section. Let me know your theory of how the world will end, especially if you're watching the replay. And, guys, you guys are equally as important. Thank you very much for your support. Don't forget, guys, you could also support the Ange TV show by becoming a member. Hit the join button, become a member, and join today. You could also send a super chat if you want to support the channel. And I also have merch, guys. The link is in the description if you want to buy Ange merch. Okay, guys? Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Jeffrey, for coming. Guys, tomorrow we have a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Nick Messina, Instagram influencer and brand ambassador for his own brand, Siciliano de Morial, guys. He's a very funny guy. He does comedy in English and Italian. He's a local legend, in my opinion. I look up to him, right? So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Nick Messina at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, guys. Set a reminder. It's right after this. You're going to be redirected to that video right after this live stream. So go and set a reminder. Guys, thank you for coming to The Unknown. Next week, the topic is unknown because I don't know the topic yet. But guys, hopefully I'll see you guys next Tuesday. I'll let you know who's going to be our senior correspondent. It all depends on Claudio's health because, guys, we're also hoping that Claudio has a speedy recovery. He is sick. He's very sick, actually. So we're praying for him. Guys, take care. Buonasera. We're out of here. And like I said, we don't know when the world's going to end, guys. We just don't know. Guys, take care. Ciao. Ciao, guys.